Introduction to web-safe fonts and their importance. Web-safe fonts are present on most operating systems and web browsers. They ensure consistent typography display across different platforms. If a web designer uses a non-web safe font, the browser will substitute it, potentially altering the website's appearance. Understanding font families and their role in CSS typography. A font family is a group of fonts with similar characteristics. Font families allow designers to specify multiple fonts for different elements of a web page. If a user's browser doesn't support the first font in the list, it will try to use the second font, and so on. A list of web-safe fonts and their alternatives. Common web-safe fonts include Arial, Times New Roman, Courier New, Verdana, and Georgia. These fonts may not be available in all font weights and styles. In such cases, it's recommended to use a font stack. How to choose the right font for your website. The font should reflect the website's brand and message. Ensure readability at different font sizes. Ensure the font contrasts well with the background color. Consider the font's personality. Best practices for using web-safe fonts in your CSS. Use a font stack to specify fonts in order of preference. Use font weights and styles that are available in web-safe fonts. Use appropriate font sizes and line heights for readability. Enable font smoothing to improve the appearance of fonts on screen. The CSS font stack and how to use it effectively. The font stack ensures consistent typography across different platforms. Use font weights and styles that are available in web-safe fonts for consistency. Tips for optimizing font loading on your website. Use web-safe fonts as much as possible to reduce page load time. Use the font display property to control how fonts are displayed while downloading. Use font subsets to include only needed characters, reducing font file size and improving page load time. Common sans serif and serif fonts for web design. Common sans serif fonts include Arial, Helvetic Verdana, Tahoma, and Calibri. Common serif fonts include Times New Roman, Georgia, Baskerville, Garamond, and Palatino. Not all these fonts may be available in all font weights and styles on all devices. The impact of typography on user experience. Typography affects readability, legibility, and overall user experience. Poor typography can lead to a high bounce rate. Good typography improves the website's aesthetics and navigation and helps establish brand and message. Conclusion and final thoughts on maximizing web-safe fonts. Web-safe fonts are crucial to CSS typography. They ensure consistent typography display across platforms. Choosing the right font and following best practices is essential for user experience. Font stacks and font subsets optimize font loading. Good typography improves the website's aesthetic and user experience.